Hi friends, it's Sajid. Today I wanted to talk about my journey into minimalism, how I manage my book collection, as well as give you a brief review for The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. So before I even start to talk about anything, I figured that it would be fitting to just give you a definition of what I personally think minimalism is for me. So minimalism for me is about just really critically analyzing all of the things that are in your life, whether that be the physical, material things, or just sort of things like commitments and relationships, and from that retaining the things that really bring joy to you and that bring purpose in your life, and sifting away the things that are just superfluous. About a year ago, I started to feel really cluttered by the amount of crap that I had in my room, so I started to look up how to get rid of things, and that's how I discovered minimalism, mostly on YouTube, because there are a lot of YouTube videos about minimalism. But throughout this journey of minimalism, I never really felt minimalist until 2 days ago when I finished The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo, and I applied all of the methods that I learned in this book to my life. So if you didn't know, this is somewhat of a self-help book. Marie Kondo is a Japanese woman, and she is a tidying cleanliness guru. Yes, there are those. And in this book, she teaches you a very unique approach to clean your house. I'm not going to tell you exactly what she says to do. That's something that you should either read the book for or just look up on the internet. The book itself was incredibly easy to read. Marie Kondo cracked me up because she is a very eccentric person, and she also reflected on some stories of the past which kind of were her learning experiences that brought her to where she is today. But I felt like throughout the entire thing she was just sticking her hand out of the book and just snapping me in to reality, because it's ridiculous the way that we tend to hold on to things that we don't need. I got rid of about a garbage bag full of clothes and a whole garbage bag full of just random crap, and that was after trying to apply other minimalist methods that I've been learning throughout the whole of last year. But what was also somewhat life-changing for me was that I got rid of about 60-something books. There are 4 huge boxes of books piled up in my storeroom ready to be donated, sold, given away, and it could not feel more relieving. This book actually has an entire section about how to get rid of books, and that was quite helpful for me, but getting rid of books was something that I've been doing a lot during the past month or two. As someone who finds joy in collecting books and stacking them up on my shelves, getting rid of books was something that has always been very daunting to me, even if it's a book that I didn't like or don't particularly care to read anymore. But I realized that I had to confront the fact that I had an affinity with not only books as stories, which is the most important part of a book, but books as these physical objects of beauty that I like to decorate my shelves with. I have never really been someone to be persuaded by consumerist propaganda. I've never gone out and buy a whole bunch of products or clothes just because they had brand names and what have you. And I never really view buying books as that, but recently I have kind of let myself reach to the epiphany that yes, Sajid, books are products that are produced by companies who want your money. And I think that was a huge breaking point for me, because I never view books like that. I viewed them for the stories and the lessons and the ideas that they had to offer for me. I found myself, especially when I first joined BookTube, being sucked into the hype of all of these popular books and classic books and all of these books that are deemed to be the best of the best. And here I was buying books not because I genuinely wanted to read them, but because everybody else was reading them. And that's when I realized that a lot of the times when I buy books, in addition to buying books that I'm genuinely interested in, I would go out and buy books that are either super hyped and that everybody else is reading, or books that I just have this very materialistic infatuation with. And I realized that I became obsessed with just filling my shelves as opposed to filling my mind, which is something that I had to overcome. Another thing that I've had to overcome was fear of being left out, fear of not reading all of the hyped up books that everybody else is reading and loving, and fear of not reading all of the books that are considered to be important pieces of literature that everyone must read, blah blah blah. And I really had to confront myself and say, hey, do you want your motivation to read books to be driven by a genuine desire to read those books, or a fear of being left out, a fear of not being able to participate in the community as well enough because you're not reading The Mortal Instruments or every single Sarah J Maas book or the Lemony Snicket books or even the Harry Potter series. So all of those like very extrinsic motivations for purchasing books really made me build up my TBR pile to the point where it was super overwhelming and used to stress me out even more. And when I look at my bookshelves, do I want to feel stressed or do I want to feel happy and motivated? And I could safely say now that I've gotten rid of all of the extraneous books, I feel very motivated and happy when I look at my shelves because now I'm seeing a representation of the things that I enjoyed and the things that I am excited for. And I really think that this whole concept of sparking joy that Marie Kondo talks about should really form the foundation of what we decide to do with our books. Well, at least for me, it wasn't bringing me joy anymore, so I had to rectify it, and thanks to this book, I finally got the courage to do that. So I would highly recommend this book. Some people might find it a bit silly, like the title alone turns people off. It's not for everybody. You might read this book and you might think it's a pile of trash, but for me, it was treasure. I absolutely adored it and I gave it 5 stars. Read this book, I guarantee you it will help you at least a little. So I'm going to end the video here. If you've read this book, I would love to know your thoughts on it as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely day, and until next time, inshallah, keep reading.